There are narcissists and then there are mega narcissists. You know that quote that you can never judge a book by its cover? Well, that expression was made for Dr. Shola Adebimpe. He was a dean of psychology at the University of Aramako. Yes, psychology, as in the man who taught students how the mind works. Meanwhile, his own mind was like an abandoned shrine. Dark, confusing, dangerous. To the public, Dr. Shola was goodness wrapped in human skin. He was caring, generous, soft-spoken, almost angelic. People would testify boldly, Dr. Shola, that man paid my daughter's acceptance fee when I had financial problems. He bought drugs for my mother when I didn't even ask. Dr. Shola is the kindest lecturer on campus. Students adored him. Some practically worshipped him. They would brag, Dr. Shola is the best lecturer in this whole university. Very nice man. And he fed them that image like a hungry lion. He would walk through school smiling gently. Good afternoon, my brilliant minds. He opened doors for strangers. He carried babies in the church. He volunteered during harvest. Even the pastor used to call him the man with the golden heart. But at home, let's just say if Lucifer had the firstborn, it was that man. Because the man that Tonia was married to was not the same man the world celebrated. Tonia was gentle, painfully gentle. The kind of woman who says sorry even if you are the one that offended her. Soft-hearted, quiet, patient. But Dr. Shola used her softness like mop. He wiped the floor with her spirit daily. Outside he would say, sir, please, sir, thank you, sir, God bless you. But the moment he stepped into his house, his spirit would change instantly, as if a demon had taken over the night shift. He was a different man, with a different voice and a very different spirit. He would fling his tie on the chair and shout, Tonia, is this how you arrange a house? Why is everywhere so dusty? Everything was a reason for complaint. Everything was an attack. If Tonia asked a harmless question, he would raise one eyebrow and say, your insecurities are started again. Why do you like to overthink things like this? That last line, that was his favorite insult. Because Tonia once made the mistake of confessing her past heartbreak to him while they were still courting. She once had a man who never cheated on her, but she thought he was. She misread his chats and overthought his silence, and because of that, she thought he was cheating. He had tried begging her, explaining, reassuring her silently, until one day he said, Tonia, I cannot build a home with someone who doubts me all the time. And he left. That guilt followed her like a shadow. And when she told Shola on that rainy evening when they first started dating, she cried in his arms and said, I never want to be that insecure woman again. That was the biggest mistake of her life because Shola used that information as a spiritual weapon. Whenever anything happened in the home, he would shout, this your trust issues. That's why your ex ran away. You can't work on this thing. Will you carry it to the grave? You need psychological evaluation. Psychological evaluation from a psychologist. You can imagine the madness. When he stepped onto campus, Dr. Shola would transform into Brother Angel Gabriel. His tone softened immediately. He walked slowly. His smile carried the fake calmness that fooled everybody. He would greet students warmly, adjust a crooked collar, pick a stray paper from the floor and say responsible things like, integrity is the foundation of every relationship, academic, professional or personal. If people can't trust your character, nothing you build will stand. Every time he said things like that, something sharp moved in Tonia's chest because she knew the truth. At home, this same integrity ambassador could lie without blinking. His colleagues respected him deeply. They would stop him in the corridor. Doctor, you are a blessing to this department. Dr. Adebimpe, your emotional intelligence is exceptional. Parents admired him too. During public lectures, they pushed their children forward. Go and greet Dr. Shola. Let him guide you. Learn from him. Even the vice chancellor would say things like, Shola is one of the strongest moral vices on campus. level-headed, dependable, a proper role model for every scholar. If only they knew. To the world, Dr. Shola Adebimpe looked like a calm intellectual, but inside his house, it was a silent war zone where only one person bled. Whenever he came home late, Tonia gently asked, "What happened? Hope there was no problem at work." He would laugh that wicked, mocking laugh and reply, "Are you checking on me because of your insecurity? Or do you really care?" Tonia, soft, patient, trying so hard not to be the woman she once was, would swallow her heart and say quietly, "But I do care." But caring didn't matter to him. If her phone rang and her eyes as much as drifted towards him, he exploded instantly. "Stop monitoring me! You are a sick woman." Shola never gave Tonia any attention, never gave her comfort, never gave her peace. Every day, he found new ways to display textbook narcissist behavior: gaslighting, blame shifting, emotional starvation. When she cried those small, silent tears she tried to hide, he hissed like she disgusted him. "Tonia, you need therapy. You are too childish." If she tried to talk, to explain, he lifted his hand in dismissal. "Don't stress me. I talk to hundreds of students daily. I don't have patience for your drama." And she will fall quiet again, because in that house, her silence was the only thing that kept the peace. He gave her affection like pocket money, and even pocket money was too much. Meanwhile, he was a lecturer with students following him around like mosquitoes. Morning came quietly in the Adebimpe house, too quietly. Tonia moved around the bedroom like someone walking on thin glass. She arranged the bed, folded Shola's tie, opened the wardrobe, her usual routine. But today, something tugged at her mind, a feeling she couldn't explain. She bent to pick one of the shirts from the laundry basket. She saw it, a faint lipstick stain, small, almost invisible, but not small enough. Tonia froze, her breath caught in her chest. She blinked, hoping it was an imagination. She rubbed the spot gently with her thumb, hoping it would vanish, and it didn't. A hot, heavy stillness settled into her. She didn't jump to conclusions, not anymore, not after her past. So she folded the shirt slowly, quietly, as if the stains might wake something dangerous if she moved too fast. Downstairs, she heard Shola's footsteps, steady, confident, the way he always walked into every room like the world belonged to him. He entered the bedroom without knocking. He barely looked at her, as usual. Tonia stood up, wiping her hands on her clothes. "Good morning," she whispered. He didn't answer. He opened the wardrobe, picked another shirt and started buttoning it. Only then did she gather the courage to speak. "Shola, can I ask you something?" He paused just for a moment. Then he continued buttoning the shirt, not facing her. "What is it again?" he asked. His tone already told her she shouldn't have asked. Tonia folded her fingers tightly. I noticed something on your shirt. It looks like..." He turned sharply. "Looks like what?" His voice was cold, sharp enough to cut. "I don't know," she said softly. I just wanted to ask if..." He shook his head slowly, mockingly. "This lady, your insecurities again?" Tonia swallowed the words rising in her throat. "You overthink everything," he continued. "That's why your ex left you. Have you forgotten?" Her eyes stung instantly. She looked down. "I wasn't accusing you," she whispered. "You were," he said firmly. "You always do, and I'm tired." He walked away before she could speak. His footsteps echoed through the hallway, each one pressing deeper into her chest. Tonia stood there, holding the folded shirt with trembling fingers, wondering why love had to feel this painful. She tried to breathe, tried to steady herself, tried not to cry, but a crack had formed. Small, silent, but real. Later that week, she found something else. Shola's trousers were hanging on the chair. She wanted to take them for washing. She reached into the pocket to check for receipts. Her fingers brushed against something smooth. She pulled it out. A pack of contraceptives. New, half used. Her eyes widened. Her heart thumped so loudly she could hear it in her ears. Her breath grew shallow. She stayed at the park for a long time. It didn't make sense. It didn't belong to her. She and Shola were trying to have a child for 5 years, 5 painful years. Her knees weakened and she sat slowly on the edge of the bed. Her chest rose and fell in uneven breaths. Every memory, every dismissal, every insult, every strange perfume started connecting itself like puzzle pieces she didn't want to complete. No, she whispered to herself. Shola wouldn't. He's a lot of things, but he wouldn't. But he would. A small voice inside her said he would. Her eyes blurred with tears. She tried to blink away. She needed someone to talk to. Someone outside the whirlwind inside her chest. So she called Amanda. Amanda arrived in less than 30 minutes, dropping her handbag on the sofa as soon as she walked in. Tonia, what happened? She asked, her voice filled with concern. Tonia sat on the couch, her hands twisted together tightly. She handed Amanda the contraceptive pack without saying a word. Amanda's eyes widened. Tonia, where did you get this? His pocket, Tonia whispered. Silence hovered between them. Amanda took a slow breath. Okay, listen, before you conclude anything, talk to his family. Talk to his mother. Talk to someone that you know he respects. Maybe she can talk sense to him. You're not alone, dear. Tonia nodded weakly, but her heart tightened. Talking to his mother almost felt wrong, but she was desperate. She needed someone to talk to Shola. She went to see Shola's mother. Mama Shola was sitting outside, peeling oranges with sharp precision. Good afternoon, ma, Tonia greeted. Good afternoon, Mama replied, still peeling. Tonia sat down gently. Ma, I wanted to talk to you about something important. Mama sliced another orange. You can talk now. Tonia hesitated. Her voice trembled. Ma, I think Shola is... I think he might be seeing someone else. Mama stopped peeling. She turned slowly, her eyes cold. So that's why you came? She asked. To accuse my son of cheating on you? No, ma, I'm not accusing him, Mama hissed loudly. Instead of you to think of how to give us a child, you are here talking about cheating. Do you know how many years have passed? 5. 5 years, and you have no baby. Tonia's throat tightened painfully. Mama continued. Your husband has been good to you. He bought you a car recently, didn't he? He buys you clothes. He takes care of you. And because you saw something inside his pocket, he's now a demon. Tonia, fear God, oh. Tonia blinked, tears slipping down quiet. Mama, I'm just hurting, she whispered. Go and fix your home, Mama snapped. Stop telling lies about my son. A wise woman built her home. Tonia stood up, wiping her face quickly so Ma wouldn't see her cry. Thank you, Ma. She walked out slowly as though each step weighed 20 kg. That night, she gathered courage again. She approached Shola in the living room where he was reading a newspaper like he was the president of the country. Shola, please, can we talk? He didn't look up. What now? She sat beside him carefully. I'm begging you, stop treating me like this. We used to talk when we were dating. We used to share things. I feel like I'm losing you. He sighed dramatically. Tonia, stop the emotional theatrics. I'm not. You are, he said firmly. This is exactly what I was managing before I married you. You want to spoil my peace because of your insecurity. Her lips trembled. Shola, but you know I love you, she whispered. He folded his paper and stood up. Go and sleep, he said. I'm not doing this with you tonight. He walked out. Her tears fell silently again. Meanwhile, Shola's double life was expanding. It grew quietly, the same way a small crack in a wall becomes a disaster when nobody is looking. On campus, he walked around like a man who owned the air people breathe. Students used to greet him with respect, and he enjoyed it more than he enjoyed his own marriage. Whenever he walked through the faculty, he would smile slowly, tilt his head and speak gently. Everyone thought he was the lecturer with the biggest emotional intelligence. If only they knew what he was doing behind the scenes. He noticed girls easily, too easily. And anytime he saw a quiet, confused or insecure student, he would slow down and study them like a project. That was how he met Adora. She wasn't the type causing noise in class. She didn't raise her hand too much. She just sat close to the window, always hugging her notebook like someone protecting her dreams. One Thursday afternoon, after a difficult lecture on hypothesis testing, her classmates rushed to Shola to ask questions. Adora stayed back, waiting patiently. When the crowd cleared, she walked forward shyly and asked him to explain a topic she didn't understand. That was all he needed. He smiled at her as if she had discovered a secret he'd been waiting for. "Come to my office after break," he said, almost whispering. When she came, he acted like he was interested in her academic growth. But little by little, he shifted the conversation. He started complimenting her handwriting, her looks, her intelligence, her calmness. Adora, who wasn't used to attention, began to trust him. And when trust entered, manipulation followed. One day, while pretending to be tired, he leaned back in his seat and said, "My marriage is only existing physically. There is no emotional connection. Whenever I see you, Adora, you are the one who makes me feel alive." He said it with such soft voice, the kind that melts a young girl's heart before she has time to even reflect. Adora fell immediately. She didn't know that to Shola, she was just one gentle chapter in a long book of wickedness. Then there was Riri. If Adora was a whisper, Riri was the thunder. She was bold, fashionable, and the kind of girl who walked with confidence. Even lecturers respected her. He met her during departmental week. She was the anchor for the mental health seminar. Shola was the guest speaker. And from the crowd, he watched how she moved. Sharp tongue, smart jokes, fearless smile. After the event, she passed him in the corridor and he said, "You have presence. Most people don't." She smiled, not shyly, but in that confident way that makes a man like Shola feel challenged. He loved that. He used her project as the entry point. He started guiding her, texting her, sending voice notes, dropping subtle compliments. He told her, "My wife and I are separated emotionally. I just need time to make the official move." Riri believed him because everything about him looked responsible. His suits, his gentle voice, his professionalism. And because he backed every lie with expensive meals, perfumes, writing retreats, and gifts that made it look like she was truly special to him. He separated them like two departments in a company. Adora was his softness, Riri was his excitement. Tonia, his wife, was the woman he returned home to when he wanted food and peace. He felt untouchable. He thought he was controlling everything until the afternoon everything started to crack. Meanwhile, behind all the sweetness and lies, Shola was feeding Adora and Riri. He had rules, very strict rules. That was how he controlled everything. If he bought them gifts, it came with instructions. If he took them out, he repeated the same warnings. "See, don't call me. I'll be the one to call you. If you need to text me, keep it short. In class, behave yourself. Don't look at me too much. And for God's sake, don't show any attitude in public." They obeyed. They didn't think twice because he made it look like he was protecting them. Meanwhile, he was protecting himself. Adora followed every instruction respectfully. Always quiet, always careful, always grateful for 5 minutes of his attention. Riri followed the rules too, even though her spirit was wild. She didn't want trouble. She didn't want to lose him. She genuinely thought he was hers. But everything started scattering the afternoon she saw that pregnancy test. At first, she didn't believe the faint line. She blinked, wiped it, sprinkled water on her face, waited. Then she opened another strip, waited patiently for some minutes, and when she looked at it, she could not deny it. There, written boldly, was a second line. Positive, bright, bold. There was no argument. Her legs almost gave way. She sat on the cold bathroom floor, holding her chest as if her heart wanted to run out. After pacing around for almost an hour, she decided she needed to tell him. So she went to his office that afternoon. She walked to his office with shaky steps, praying he wouldn't shout, praying he would at least show a little emotion. When she knocked, he looked up from his laptop and frowned. Why are you here without an appointment? You should have sent a text at least. Because it's important, she said, closing the door gently behind her. Shola, I'm pregnant. The room went silent. Then he leaned back in his chair, crossed his legs and asked, Pregnant? Yes. Are you sure it's mine? Riri's mouth opened, her eyes widened. Shola, what do you mean? It's just you that I've been with. You said your marriage is only physical, not emotional. You promised me. You said you don't have a child. Before she could continue, he raised his hand sharply. That was talk. Things are complicated. And stop twisting my words. I can't marry you. She took a step closer. So what are you saying, Shola? You told me. You promised me. You said you just needed time. So take the steps now. Let's have this baby. It's our baby. He hissed loudly and stood up. Riri, don't be stupid. Go and find the father of your child. Don't bring nonsense to my office. The words hit her like a slap. Her knees weakened. Hot tears filled her eyes instantly. She held the edge of his desk. Shola, please. Why are you talking like this? He walked past her, opened the door of his office and pointed outside. Now leave. That was all. Just one word. Riri staggered out, tears flowing down her face as she walked across campus. People stared at her, but she didn't care. She got to her hostel, locked the door and cried under her pillow until it was soaked. Days passed. She didn't hear from him. There was no call, no text, no sign that he cared. She kept the pregnancy quiet even amongst her roommates until she started overhearing things. It began with a careless conversation in the hostel corridor. Two girls were gossiping. You know Dr. Shola now? He has a girl he's dating in 300 level. Adobe Abi? Yes, that quiet one. Yes, now. I noticed the way they've been beating together every time in that office. She's always going to meet him. He's been helping her with projects and helping her think too much. Riri froze. Her eyes widened slowly. Another girl, Adora, while he was telling her sweet things, while he was promising to spend the rest of his life with her. That was when something dark shifted in her chest. The pain turned into anger. The anger turned into bitterness. And the bitterness slowly shaped itself into a straight, sharp decision. She cleaned her tears, looked at her swollen eyes and whispered, He thinks he's untouchable, Abi. He will see. That was the first night Riri didn't cry. That was the night she started planning. That same period when Riri was quietly planning her revenge, life inside Shola's house was turning into something darker. One night, he came home smelling of alcohol and expensive cologne. Tonia knew that smell. It wasn't just drink. It was a mix of bar smoke, perfume that wasn't hers, and guilt. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, folding clothes, when he walked in, eyes red, steps unstable. He didn't greet her. He just dropped his bag, pulled off his shirt, and stood over like someone annoyed by her existence. She tried to walk past him. Let me get water for you. But before she could finish, he grabbed her hand roughly. Stay here. His voice was thick with alcohol and something else, something angry, something dark. Tonia's heart began to race. She wasn't used to this version of him. She had seen the shouting, she had seen the insults, she had seen the emotional manipulation. But this was different. It was like something was weighing in on him. Shola, wait, calm down now, let me. He didn't listen, didn't care. He pushed her onto the bed and forced himself on her, ignoring her tears, ignoring her fear, ignoring the way her hands trembled against his chest. When he was done, he rolled away carelessly and slept like someone who had just finished eating. Tonia sat up slowly, holding her wrapper around her body, her entire chest shaking. She didn't cry out loudly. She cried the silent kind, the kind where tears fall but the voice refuses to come out. She picked up her pillow and left the room that night. She slept on the couch. Weeks later, she started feeling strange, sluggish, weak, sensitive to smell. One morning, while sweeping the sitting room, she felt a sudden wave of nausea. It rose so fast, she barely had time to drop the broom before running to the bathroom. She leaned over the sink, rinsing her mouth, her hands shaking uncontrollably. Her legs felt weak. Her heartbeat was uneven. Her breath came in short bursts. She couldn't steady. When she lifted her face to the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Her eyes were tired, she had pale lips, a fear she couldn't place. She stood there for a long moment, listening to her own breathing, then slowly reaching for the small pregnancy test kit she had forgotten she still kept. Her fingers trembled as she opened it, followed the steps, waited. When the results appeared, her breath caught. Positive. She sat on the edge of the bathtub, both hands covering her mouth as tears gathered in her eyes, not from sadness this time, but from something softer, something she had waited 5 long years to feel. A small smile tugged at her lips, shaky but real. When Tonia finally gathered herself, she smiled. After 5 long years, she was carrying a life inside her now. She placed a shaking hand on her stomach, whispering, "My baby, my own baby." And for the first time in months, hope warmed her chest. Yet beneath that hope rested something heavy, a memory she didn't want to remember, a night she wished had happened differently. Still, she clung to joy. She needed it. She deserved it. When Shola walked in, she stood up quickly, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and fear. "Shola, I'm pregnant," she said, the words leaving her lips like a fragile prayer. His eyes widened, surprised first, then a strange smile that didn't reach his eyes. He laughed once, too loudly, too sharply, as if he was performing happiness instead of feeling it. "Finally," he said, pulling her into a stiff hug. At last, you've given me a child." But even as he held her, Tonia felt it, a coldness in his excitement, a strange edge in his voice, something off, something she couldn't explain, something that made her joy tremble. Tonia's pregnancy should have been the beginning of peace, but in the Adebimpe house, peace was something that only entered when Shola wasn't home. His narcissism grew sharper, his coldness grew deeper, his fake public saintliness grew louder, and Tonia felt all of it every day quietly. Her belly grew slowly, each week turning her with a new kind of weakness, lightheadedness, swollen feet, morning nausea, sudden tears she didn't understand. But Shola gave her nothing, not a hand on her back, not a glass of water, not a single word of comfort. If anything, it became worse. One evening, she came downstairs holding her lower back, moving painfully. She had made okra soup, the one dish he liked, because she thought it might soften him. "Shola, I made your favorite. I thought you might." He didn't even let her reach the table. He glanced at her with irritation. "Did I send you to cook?" he said. Tonia blinked. "No, I just wanted to." "You wanted to what? Use food to manipulate me?" "Tonia, please. Pregnant women have been existing since Adam. You're not special." Her fingers trembled around the bowl. "I didn't mean it like." He raised his hand again. "Don't start. If you want sympathy, go and meet your mother. I don't have energy for fragile emotions." He stood up, took his car keys, and walked out without eating. Tonia sat there staring at the steaming soup. She swallowed her pain quietly. She always did. 2 weeks later, a sharp pain woke her in the middle of the night. It was deep and intense, crawling up her stomach. She gasped and touched his shoulder. "Shola, please wake up. I'm feeling pain. I'm scared." He groaned loudly. "Ha, Tonia, do you want to kill me with disturbance?" She breathed heavily. "Tears for me. I don't know if it's normal. Please, just help me." Shola faced the wall and pulled the blanket over his shoulder. "If you are that worried, go and call your doctor. I have a lecture tomorrow. Please, let me sleep." "Shola, please now," she whispered. But he was gone, lost to sleep, lost to himself. Tonia sat up the entire night holding her belly, praying silently, tears dripping down her neck. By morning, the pain was gone, but the wound in her heart stayed. Ironically, the same week he left Tonia in pain, Shola stood in front of the psychology department, preaching character and morality like a prophet. He claps his hands behind him, chin lifted, speaking to final year students with deep authority. In life, he said, pacing slowly, a man is defined by how he treats people. Respect, discipline, integrity. These are the pillars of good character. Students nodded in admiration. Some clapped lightly. A girl whispered to her friend, this Dr. Shola is a role model. His wife must be blessed. If only they knew. If only they could see the man behind the curtains. But Kama wasn't sleeping. She was just waiting. While Shola was polishing his public image like gold, Riri was in a room far away from home, staring at her pregnancy, growing slowly beneath her clothes. His words kept replaying. You will remove it. Don't be stupid. Go and find the father. Don't bring nonsense to my office. And then, the whisper she had heard that day in the hostel. Adora is always in Dr. Shola's office. I think she's very close to him. You didn't hear? He bought her a textbook. They say he's helping her too much. Riri's chest tightened. He lied to her. He used her. He dismissed her. And worst, he played her while playing someone else. The baby kept growing, slowly, beautifully. When she finally went into labor on her 9th month, she screamed his name, not because she wanted him there, but because pain has a way of dragging memories out. After hours that felt like years, she heard the soft cry of her child, a boy. She was exhausted, her eyes blurry, her heart trembled. But when the nurse placed the baby on her chest, something hot and overwhelming washed through her. She held him tightly, whispering, it's okay, Mommy's here. Her tears fell on his tiny forehand. She kissed his fingers. She breathed in him. That was the moment she made her decision. If Shola could abandon her, if he could insult her, if he could deny the child he helped create, then he would face consequences. Not the small type, the kind that burns a man's pride and leaves ashes behind. Riri wasn't in a hurry. Revenge needs patience. It needs timing. So she waited and watched the calendar. She needed to have proof, something he couldn't use his fake integrity to deny. And so, she hired one of the campus cleaners to secretly collect something Shola had used for a DNA test. Please, I need something that belongs to Dr. Shola. Anything he has used. A pen cap he chewed, a tissue he wiped his mouth with, a paper he scribbled on, anything. I will pay you. 2 days later, the woman brought her a disposable cup with his saliva on the rim. Riri took it straight to a private lab. The DNA results came back 99.9% paternity. She waited for the perfect day. She knew Shola's schedule by heart. She knew the days he taught small classes. She knew the days he had meetings. She knew the days he acted extra holy, the day he joined campus fellowships. But there was one day more significant than all others. The day he takes one of the biggest GS courses, the general lecture attended by over 400 students from different departments. Freshers, random students passing by, people who adored him, people who thought he was a saint. It was the perfect stage, the perfect spotlight, the perfect downfall. So she circled the date on her calendar, waited, watched, and prepared. The night before the lecture, she didn't sleep. She sat on her bed with her baby in her arms, feeding him slowly, brushing his tiny curls with her fingers. Her heart was calm, her spirit steady. She looked at her child's face, innocent, soft, peaceful, and whispered, tomorrow, your father will finally see you. When the baby slept, she turned to the envelope lying on her table. She spread everything out. The DNA test, screenshots of their chat that she has printed, voice note transcripts that she had made, hotel pictures, pregnancy pictures, receipts he paid for secretly, and the laminated hotel photo with the word hypocrite written boldly on it. Then she printed extra copies, not one, not five, hundreds. She trimmed the edges neatly, arranged them in piles, placed them in a bag, and before dawn, she headed to campus. It was a Thursday morning, late morning sun, cool breeze. Hall 2 was jam-packed with over 400 first-year students. Shola walked in like a king. Crisp shirt, polished shoes, fake humility. "Good morning, class," he said with his usual pastor voice. Students clapped. Some girls giggled. Some boys saluted jokingly. He began pacing the stage. "In life," he said, raising his voice, "character is everything." A man, he continued teaching. Meanwhile, just outside the hall, Riri was moving like a silent storm. She handed students printed evidence like handbills. One girl gasped so loud people around her turned. "Jeez, is this real? Oh my God! A whole Dr. Shola, hypocrite!" Another boy snatched the handbill and ran towards his friend, shouting, "Omo, see your moral lecturer!" Within minutes, dozens of students were reading the handbills, passing them around like exam malpractice answers. Then some naughty students got creative. They grabbed tape, they grabbed glue, they grabbed notice board pins, and began pasting the evidence everywhere, on the pillars, on the staircase walls, on classroom doors, on the department signboard. One student pasted a photo right beside Shola's promotional faculty portrait and screamed, "Perfect match." Laughter erupted outside. The humiliation had already begun. Back inside the hall, whispers grew. Some students zoomed into the photos that had already gone viral before Shola even noticed anything was wrong. One overzealous boy had posted the entire file dump on the class WhatsApp group with the caption, "Breaking news, your moral lecturer exposed." Within minutes, everyone had seen it. Phones lit up like Christmas lights. Students were shaking each other, whispering too loudly to be discreet. Shola didn't understand. He frowned, not knowing that his downfall was already trending in 3 WhatsApp groups, 2 Telegram threads, and 1 course rep broadcast. "Can we concentrate, please?" But the whispers refused to die. Then the door opened and the hall went silent. Riri stepped in. Her shirt was clean but worn, her face tired but determined, her hair rough from sleepless nights, and in her arms, a small boy wrapped in a soft blue cloth, sleeping peacefully. The hall went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Riri walked down the middle aisle slowly, deliberately. Every student's phone already up and recording. Shola froze. His mouth hung up. His chalk fell from his hand. "Riri," he whispered, but she didn't stop. She climbed the stage, stood in front of him, raised her voice so the entire hall could hear. "Dr. Shola, I brought your GS assignment." Gasps exploded. She placed the baby on his podium, gently, firmly. Then she pulled out a brown envelope and emptied the contents on the floor. Pictures of their dates, screenshots of their messages, photos of her pregnant belly, pictures of him kissing her, and the DNA test, 99.9 paternity. The entire hall screamed. People stood on chairs. Lecturers ran to the door. Phones clicked everywhere. Then Riri pulled out the last item, a poster she had carried under her arm. She held it up high. "Hypocrite, here is your child. Raise what you created." The same poster she had pasted outside the hall. Students began chanting, "Hypocrite, hypocrite." Some threw their notebooks in shock. Some fainted. Some laughed. Shola stood there shaking violently. His image, his reputation, his entire identity collapsing in seconds. Riri leaned into the mic. "You told me to remove him," she said quietly. "You told me he wasn't yours. You lied. You abandoned us. Now carry your child." She stepped down from the stage, walked out boldly, head high, heart steady. She didn't look back. One of the security men ran forward, lifted the crying baby and placed him in Shola's trembling arms. The hall erupted again. And Dr. Shola Adebimpe, the saint, the moral pillar, the campus angel, stood there,
disgraced in front of 300 students, 3 lecturers, and half of the faculty. Kaba didn't just knock. She marched in wearing high heels and she dragged him to the center of the stage in front of everyone. And just like that, Hall 2 turned into the biggest scandal the university had ever seen. But my people, this is only half of the storm, because what Shola faced inside that hall is nothing compared to what is coming for him outside. The posters, the crowd, the staff, the dean, and even Tonia at home. If you think you've seen disgrace, wait till you see what happened next. Before we go, let me ask you, what do you think happened next, especially with Tonia? Tell me your theories in the comments. I love to read your predictions. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit like, drop your thoughts below, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next part. Thank you for watching. See you in part 2. Bye.